we have
This meeting is being recorded.
we have essentially $1,277 in the treasury. I think Mohammed, you and Bob may have some outstanding receipts for me that I can then reimburse you for, but I haven't been told that yet. And the membership hasn't changed. The membership is still down from last year. There's about 5 or 6 people who were members last year that haven't contributed dues this year. I've contacted them via email, and that didn't seem to help very much. So, and now we're almost we're on the downward trend towards the end of the year. So hopefully we can pick up our membership a little bit. Although I must admit, 12 people here tonight's a pretty good group. And I guess that's it.
Okay, thank you, Wally. So my name is Mohammed Nasrullah. I'm the current president of the Amnesty International Bay Area chapter, local area chapter number 1017. And I would like to introduce to you today's speaker, Isidro Garza. He's the current League of United Latin American Citizens National Education Chairman, that's LULAC. He is a farm worker with a former farm worker with Cesar Chavez. He's a mechanical engineer, a mechanical engineering graduate of Texas A&M from 1973. 49 years with LULAC. Is a honorably discharged as captain in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, a board member of Cesar Chavez Legacy and Educational Foundation, and it's with Communications, Texas General Land Office. The title of his topic tonight is Conscience versus Convenience. So please join me in welcoming Isidro Garza to our monthly meeting. Go ahead, Isidro.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. What I'd like to do is share a screen. I'm glad Jackie stayed here with me because I would have flunked. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can see it.
The topic of the talk is conscience versus convenience, and the basis for it is there are 2 books. I don't know if you can see them. This particular one is The Wisdom of Generations by Timon Skipper Dipple, and a second one, it's called The Language of Conscience, also by Mr. Timon Skipper Dipple, a friend of mine since 1980. And he is the founder of the Lyceum. And through the Lyceum, we have had presidents, we've had governors, lieutenant governors, attorney generals, and many of the representatives. I was in the first Lyceum in 1980. I had the honor, I don't know why, I was fish out of the water, probably because they thought that I knew a gentleman by the name of Bob Handy, and it is through that connection that maybe they made a mistake and chose me. But in essence, everything that we do falls, it's like a T-square, and this is very busy, I understand, and I'll be coming to it maybe once or twice. But in essence, when we have a why on the road, a decision to be made, where do we go for those decisions? Do we go to our core values? Do we go to our immediate ambitions? If you're in politics, economics, those are interest driven. A politician, I think I heard enough before to understand that we all share this, that most politicians are in there for their own personal benefit. They start with good intent, but somehow or another, when you get into it, somehow or another, it ends up coming back. How do I get reelected? And so then there's the third element, and that is culture. Culture is values driven, and I know that the basis, the center for Amnesty International is to do your part to try to see if there's an injustice, to see if you just don't walk away from it. Father Davis from Laredo once told me that the one thing that he's probably right now about 120, but he's still out there. He gets out whenever we have a demonstration of sort. He's a Catholic priest, and he'll get the microphone and he says, my mom would always say, what are you going to do when you see something that's wrong? Are you going to walk away? Are you going to say, well, that belongs to others? Or are you personally going to get involved and try to take care of that problem that's in front of you? And that's the essence of my speech, my talk today. And the answer your organization continues to advocate, where very few will. Now, there's different ways of describing that thought process. The moral imperative, of course, is what is it that I have to do? It's imperative that I do this. That's the right thing to do. And then there's other ways of thinking, the Immanuel Kant's moral imperative, to do the right thing all the time. I'm going to give you some examples of where in my personal life I had to make choices. And at one point, I lied. And so we're going to, similar to Christ, the golden rule, to love thy neighbor as I would love you. The Confucius, the silver rule, to not do to others what you would not want to be done to yourself. And then the dignity issues of Cesar Chavez, Martin Luther King's character, Muhammad, one God, racial equality, Gandhi's peaceful resistance, Aristotle's ethics of virtue, which points to how people should act. Jeremy Bentham, most good for most people determines right or wrong. That's just nothing about any morals. It's what the masses wants to do. Immanuel Kant, moral imperative, do the right thing all the time. And so the next slide is, this is the surprise I was going to give you. The gentleman in the orange tennis shoes with his hand up in the air, you may want to give it a double take, because that's me. And the gentleman immediately to my left is my son, a former state representative, Timoteo Garza. And we had served 811 days in federal prison, and we're walking out of prison. That's why I said I'm really not here, because there's some people in government that would want me to stay there I received a sentence of 235 months in 2008. I am not supposed to be here with you. I'm supposed to be in prison until February of 2028. But here I am. Thank God, not because I deserve it. I go back to my religion, my Catholicism, my Christ-centered. It's because his grace and his mercy. Only because of that am I here. I never asked to get out of prison. And then one day, the doors of prison were open. Almost like Silas and in the book of Acts, Paul and Silas singing songs in the middle of the night, and the chains of the jail broke. I went through a very similar experience. So that's who's speaking to you. A title could be ex-con. In my allocution, and the allocution is basically at the end of your trial, which we chose. We've always had a standing plea bargain, and possibly some of what's in the back of your minds right now is, what was the charge? Well, I'm not going to give you that answer yet. But in my allocution, you're supposed to get before the judge, and right before he sentences you, is the only time that you have to address. The rest of the time, you've got to go through the Busbys and attorneys, etc. In my case, at that point, I'm supposed to say, mea culpa, I am sorry. Forgive me, have leniency, please. I did just the opposite. If you go to a website, and the website is I know that you're recording, but in the previous slide, we have at the very bottom, endofcycle.com. The full allocution is there. Actually, I had two of them. It's confusing why, but I had two trials, and both times I took an hour to explain what was wrong in our beloved America. As stated before in my introduction, I am a captain. I retired as a captain after 15 and a half years. So I hope nobody ever questions my loyalty to our country. We love our country, but there are things that can be done better. And our judicial system, it's broken. At first I said, no, don't use that word, but actually there's some people within the justice system that actually make it totally corrupt. In my case, I talked about not only the system of selections of the jury, the prosecutors, but I also talked about federal judges. The judge that originally had my case, she held my case for a year and a half, knowing that she was absolutely conflicted, and our first motion was to recuse her. Finally, after a year and a half, she sends my case over to Waco, to another judge, a friend of hers, and all of my defense that had been ruled against in the first year and a half, all of those decisions were accepted by the judge from Waco. So I had no defense. I knew I was going there. But I talked about the system and what I thought. I hope you get a chance. There's a tab in that end of cycle website, and it's called Thy Kingdom Come. And I basically stated that if God were the judge, I wouldn't have to be going through that, because he knows everything. He knows what's your intent. If you have mens rea to do something wrong, to steal, whatever it may be. And in my case, I'll tell you, the first charge was they accused me of having stolen $2.7 million from an Indian tribe called Kickapoo. The chief of the Kickapoo, Makateo Nonodwa. I speak Kickapoo. Makateo Nonodwa is a dear friend of mine to this day. So if I had done something against the tribe, we would not have this relationship. He too went in and served about 3 years. And so I talk about the allocution, then I talk about groups like yours, the Justice Integrity Project with, oh man, I knew I was gonna, oh yeah, there it is, I wrote it down. Andrew Craig is they followed my case. And to this day, I still think that they follow it. I want to know how does Isidro end up after all this? The other one is, of course, your group, and keep doing what you're doing. If you don't, nobody else will. And the Innocence Project just leads to the next topic that I want to talk about. Right as I was coming out of prison, an African-American pastor, J.R. Williams, I should have invited him to join, but his advice was, you can't just stay righteous. They're going to make you some offers. You need to reconsider. And so eventually I had a date with the federal judge from El Paso, an angel from heaven. And she knew that I was not guilty, that it was a political a deal altogether. I ran for Congress in the year 2000, and the guy I ran against basically stated, he said it to a friend of mine, a police chief of Eagle Pass. He stated, I'm going to destroy Isidro and his family. He didn't destroy us. It's almost like 911. Out of 911, we're stronger. We're more tight. We're a better country, a resilience. Well, when they put my family through that, my wife of 51 years is still with me. My kids are with me. And if you look at the priorities, God, family, and to serve others, the God and family never sacrificed. They were never on the table. They were not a bargaining tool. So that's where I had to choose. I had to lie to the judge when she asked me 3 times, are you sure you want to take the plea bargain? Yes, ma'am. So you have a conspiracy to steal money? Yes, I did. And you had a conspiracy to defraud the federal government from your IRS? Yes, ma'am, I did. And those were lies. So I go back to the why on the road. It is because of the better good. I am trying to justify in my mind that I did the right thing because it doesn't feel good to lie. Our parents taught us just the opposite. And so when I did, had I not done that, we'd have gone through another trial, which I had promised my wife I would not put her through that again. My wife went to prison too. They went after my other son. Somehow or another, we were able to get him out with a lesser charge. They went after the chief of the tribe. And the reason they brought all those people just to break me down. And so we move on to the advocacy. And I'm going to change it real quick by saying, I don't know if you know Don Buckingham. Don Buckingham is a Republican. I ran as a Democrat, and she is a land commissioner. About 3 years ago, Don Buckingham came and sought my help. And she was a senator, and she wanted to run for land commissioner. So I could see she comes to the leader of one of the people that consider leaders of the LULAC community. And we talked. At the end of that, she actually joined LULAC. And I could see it, possibly. Maybe she did it out of convenience because she wanted more votes. She wants to expand her base. But soon after that, I had the opportunity to test. There was a lady by the name of Melissa Lucio. She had been sentenced to the death sentence on April the 27th of last year. I got into the case in February, and I quickly realized that we needed the steps, and we did a lot of advocacy, like you do with Amnesty, and we did demonstrations. I'll show you some of those in a little bit. But I asked her if she would. We needed to come up with a letter that went to the Board of Partisan Paroles. In that letter, I needed. I got 87 reps. 75 is all we needed. And then I had 10 Democrats that signed on, but I didn't have one Republican. So I went to Dawn, and she said, "Well, I'll endorse it." I said, "I don't need an endorsement. I need a sponsor." She brought with her 9 other senators. That decision for her to do that only came because she had to go away from the party platform of tough on crime. And to that I can add a bunch of other corollaries, as I know you know them, prisons for profit, etc. But she went against the pushback, and today Melissa Lucio is alive. On the 25th of April, we got a stay of execution, and so that's one person. Possibly first decision convenience. But when she proves that she's a lady of conscience, I don't really care what she's an R or a D. She's my friend. So what we did is what you all did do. We went and we got signatures. We teamed up with the Innocence Project. And by the time, on that day, here is the chief, Macateo Nonodua. And next to him is Nobel Peace Prize winner, Rigoberta Menchú Tum, a great lady. If you don't know about her, I'm sure a few of you know, but she lost all her family. Her family was burned in front of her. And she continues to advocate all over the world for against injustices. And this is a picture that when we were in Canada, when the chief and I and her, right before we got ousted because there was an overthrow of his government by the insurgents led by the congressman that said he was going to destroy me and my family. That eventually I went to prison. Right before that we were going to have a summit between those two people, the two people in the picture, Nelson Mandela and myself, and it got cut short. Here is the guy in the khaki shirt, that's me. 911, 9/9, 2 days before there was a flood in Mexico. And actually when my wife called me on 9/11 that there had been a plane that crashed into the tower, that's where we were at. These were taken in 911. And we were out there helping the people. I've got to tell you now the story. What happened? Well, we built a casino, contrary to really my advice to the chief, until the chief finally said, "But we have no other choice. No one will hire our people. They're dying. Will you help us?" So I put together, and in August the 22nd of 1996, we opened up a casino. They were squatters underneath a bridge, and I need to go to. Can you help me? I need to go to the other.
What happened, Isidro?
Just a second.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's fine. So here is the bridge, International Bridge, and can you make it big? Thank you. And underneath is where the tribe lived. This is 1983. And the Kickapoo tribe, they had one water spigot for 800 people. No restrooms, none of the kids were going to school. And people say that I used to, whenever we crossed from Eagle Pass to Piedras Negras walking, I'd stay there and say, that's not right. Again, going back to the advice of the priest, the mother to his priest son. What do you do when that happens? Years later, I came back to Eagle Pass as a city manager. And this year it was actually, it's Shelby Park. Supposedly, Shelby buried the Confederate flag in the Rio Grande. Rio Grande is just a few 100 feet. As a matter of fact, this is right where the buoys are now that have recently been put there. So that's their conditions. Here in the United States, they were the owners of all of their land. And here they were squatters. They didn't have a square inch of property. Thank God, through the casino, we were able to turn their lives around. Not only do they have money, they have health care. They would die on the doorsteps of the hospital. And now they have all the money that they need. And so the kids are going to school. We have several people that graduated from Oklahoma State. None of them were going to school at that time. So that's them. But those fields are Kickapoo. But I was probably in the surcos right next to that because we picked the crop together since I was 9. And that's my wife and myself. That this is an article that came out in 1981, Houston Chronicle, and it talks about, you know, at least somebody is looking and maybe there's some hope for the tribe. So the first thing we did, we got them recognized, federal recognition. In 1983, they became the Texas Band of Kickapoo Tribe, signed by Ronald Reagan in January the 8th of 1983. This is right before, and the gentleman, I don't know if I point, it doesn't mean anything. If you look at the picture to the far right, oh, I know what to do. Yeah, with this one here. Oh. Okay. No, you can't really see it. But this is my wife, Marta. The rest over here are Kickapoo. Mr. Barrientos, he's passed away. And this is me. This is the day that Ronald Reagan announced that he was signing the recognition bill. They had asked me to go down there. We did all the advocacy, I mean, and eventually it was a success. So now I go back to the conclusion. When you decide to get involved, many good things happen. Some go through the consequences that not anything good. My mom and dad used to say, nothing good comes easy, and nothing comes without sacrifice. But to what point are we willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to put your family through prison for 811 days simply because you won't admit to something you didn't do? At the end, the judge from El Paso gave the sentence was time served. That's why I'm here. And the amount of what's that called when you the amount of money you have to pay back. Her decision that the government had not proven their case, and what we had to pay back was 0. So how can you have theft and there be no money missing? There's so much good that comes from sometimes making the right decision. I don't feel good about having lied to the judge, but I do feel good about some of the things that God has allowed me to do since 2010, since I was released. Many good things. Hopefully, and I applaud your organization. This story that I'm talking about is really not about Isidro. This story is about where do we go to when we have to make a decision? Do we use what's most convenient, or do we let conscience be our guide? And I will open up the session for questions. I have other slides that I'd like to show you, but it suffices. I think I've made up.
So, folks, if you have any questions, unmute yourself and ask your question and then mute back so Isidro can answer your questions. Bob has a question. Bob, go ahead.
Yes, that was very interesting. One of the things I'm interested in, though, is what you folks are doing about the situation on the border. I missed your first part of your presentation because I had three things going on at one time. I got a phone call and several other things going on. But I'd like to know what you're doing about the situation on the border with the razor wire and all that kind of stuff. And is there anything that we can do or letters we should write? What's going on?
Bob, I'm gonna owe you some more money for putting it in my wheelhouse. Uh, uh, in all of this, in 2001, we went, no, 2000, we were in Los Pinos. Some of you know where that's at. It's like the White House in Mexico City. And we were there with a lady by the name of Xochitl Galvez. And Xochitl Galvez and my wife are really good friends. Xochitl Galvez was in charge of indigenous affairs. We were there with the chief, Macateo Nonodua. We needed a bridge. We needed transportation to get to the Nacimiento, which is in Mexico, about 150 miles south of the border. And Xochitl Galvez helped us build the road, and she helped us with some of the electrification way out in the boonies. That's where it's the name of the place called Nacimiento, the birthplace. And it's because it's the birthplace, the springs of the river, Sabinas River. Come down to 2023, she's going to be the next president of Mexico. So she's coming down here. She's just 3 or 4 days ago, I get a call. She wants me to organize an event here in Houston for her. So what can you do? What can we do together collectively? Let's address that issue. Everyone's concerned. Those buoys have no place. If I were there, if I were city manager, they would never come on, but they're on, and maybe, of course, I'd be arrested again. But you can't allow that to just go on. We can't turn our heads the other way and say, well, that's the government, or just blame the government, because the government is made up of people. Like I said, I don't blame the entire government to be corrupt. There are people within the government that are corrupt. And some do it just for political advantage. And politics means more than doing the right thing. Their political future means more than to get kids tangled in that barbed wire, razor wire. Somebody's got to pay for that. So I think what's going to happen, in answer to your question, Bob, is we're going to get some new leadership in Mexico. And I'm bringing in Don. Don, I told her that as soon as I got my phone call from Mexico, I let her know. She's all excited. This is not a D or an R. I am not going to bring some people that are there. I don't need to mention any names because I think we all know who they are. But we need to find coalition. We don't have the majority. Right now in Texas, we don't have the majority. So what is it? And people, I just took on the Teachers Association a week ago, and I took on actually the African American churches and pastors. And I'll tell you why. Because they don't come out to vote. When we formed the Cesar Chavez March last year. I was counting on 17,000 people from the teachers because of the takeover, and I was counting on 500 African American churches. There were less than 200 people, and those 200 people were the ones that I brought. It was a Cesar Chavez on Cesar Chavez Day, protesting the takeover of HISD. So, what are we going to do? We need a change in administration. We need to work in a coalition. What I was telling both of those, the lady that's the head of the Teachers Association, I think it's Jackie Anderson, and Pastor Reverend Dixon. They were feeding red meat. I get just as upset when I hear the Democrats red meat as I do when I hear the Republicans red meat. Because nothing gets solved. What I made a point was, do you have 51%? And the answer is no. Therefore, we have to build coalitions. We have to work within those people that do lead with conscience. I don't think that all Republicans are bad. And just like I don't think that all Democrats are good. What we need to do is build coalitions of good people. As the saying says, you help me with this, Bob. Bad thing happen when good people do nothing. How is that? What is that saying?
Yep.
So I see us addressing it holistically, not, I mean, it's too late to stop them. They already did it. So let's get the people from both sides. The DPS that's in charge of all South Texas is a member of our council, Johnny Mata Lula, council number 19, of which Don Buckingham is also. And we are having talks. What we're doing over there is wrong. And I'm advising Don, don't you're a land commissioner. Do your job as a land commissioner. You're not in the national politics. You don't have to bash Biden, because the minute that you do that, you lose half of us. Do your job. You're doing a good job. People like you. And I've won all over the state talking about her. And she got the highest number of votes. And she attributes that because of the Hispanic vote. Because we did go out and we talked favorably about her because of her work with Melissa Lucio. And because I think that we can work with her. She'll listen and adjust. Come up with those kind of people, and somehow or another we got to get the people out to vote. Houston is already proven. Houston not going to move. It's not going to go back. In Houston, we've already proven it. The next step is Texas, and we're closing Dallas and San Antonio, and Austin and the Valley. We've been beat by branding. They're the masters of branding, of calling something that isn't it, as it were. Like we're all for abortion. We're all against the economic development of the oil, and we're not. We want sensible solutions. There's where we can work. We can build our coalitions. I'm glad that, through Bob Handy can do anything. Bob Handy worked with the he's crazy, crazier than I am. Bob Handy was able to work with Kruger, who was the ambassador back then, and somehow or another we get a call from, at that time, the Republican governor Clements, and we're in Galveston, and we get a call from the Clements, and he's saying, "You can't do this. I am supposed to be in charge of this. I'm the governor of the state." Well, a year ago we called you, Governor, and you said it was too far down, and so you told us to call you 2 months before. And when I called you 2 months before, your schedule's already full. You didn't think that we could put it together. That's the only difference. We're as American as you are. We love our Texas just as much, if not more, than you do. But what we need to do is tell the story complete. Don't just tell one-sided story. We'll embrace that rich story that we have, but expand it to include the Hispanics, expand it to include the African Americans. Make us all feel good. And yes, we'll embrace even doubtful stories about the Alamo and San Jacinto and Washington on the Brazos. But that's my winded answer to Bob Handy. What are we doing about it?
Does anybody else have any questions for Isidro?
Have any comments on the ongoing trial of Mr. Paxton?
Hey, Howard, do you have a question or just
Yeah,
a comment?
can you hear me?
Barely.
No. Does he have any questions on the ongoing trial of Mr. Paxton?
I leave that to others.
Okay.
Hey, Isidro, I'll ask you a question. How can members of the Amnesty International chapter that we have, our chapter is right here in Houston, how can we help LULAC, or how can we help in the effort that LULAC helps the community? How can we help?
Possibly by just staying in touch and being a part of our distribution list, and you all including us in your distribution list. Well, we're very active. Our council is, we have issues such as 9 deaths in the county jail in this past year. That's should not happen. We have 23 total that got injured, some that are about to die. We have issues with the school, kids fighting each other, African Americans against Hispanics, and racial Anglo against either or the races. And we need personally, we need leadership. Well, we need leadership. And I know only one of you all, and I know Bob Handy. Bob's a leader. And Bob, I'm sure, has had a rough ride also because of his positions, and he makes no bones about letting you know where he stands on issues. And I think we can work together. There's many issues that the first one would be, if indeed we're going to put this together for the next president of Mexico within the next 2-3 weeks, for us to work together on it. And I've already, originally I started with a forum of 500 people. I've already, I notified him today that I want to do 2,000. I can do 10,000, but I want it to be still under control. The lady is a charm. Xochitl Galvez, when you meet her, most people that rise to that level are usually wealthy people that were sent to the best of schools. She used to sell gum in the streets, and she comes from the streets, and she's very well respected. So she wants to come down here and see what it is that we can do as neighbor countries. We are neighbors. Particularly for Mexicans. I was born on the border. Half of my family lived in Piedras Negras. My wife is in Piedras Negras in Mexico. So how can we be building bridges in between? I thought we knocked those down when we knocked down Berlin, and we're building some right here. That's wrong. We need new leadership. We need people that will stand up against even the bullies, the ones that have all the votes, all the control. We've got to say no. And if we don't have the votes, then we got to do other things. We got to stand up. We got to rally. We got to demonstrate. When we did this for Melissa Lucio, we had 50,000 people in San Antonio on March the 27th. And we had 50,000 people that marched. And in it, we had Jeff Leach, was a Republican, and Don Buckingham was working. She wasn't there, but we had several Republicans that joined us there. And that's how I think that we can change it. We're not bad people. Our country is a good country. We have a few bad apples that somehow or another we've tolerated, and we're going to allow them to take leadership positions at the expense of whom? Our kids and our kids' education.
Right. If nobody has any questions, Ruth wants to make an announcement. Take a couple of minutes to make that announcement. Ruth, you want to do that now?
Sure. Thanks for indulging me. Hi, everybody. I just want to let you know, I think probably most of you know that I'm a member of the Society of Professional Journalists Houston chapter. We're having a program on Saturday. It's a panel discussion at 1 o'clock. And the title of it is Imprisoned for the Crime of Journalism. And hopefully everyone here agrees that journalism and journalists are extremely important to democracies, to people, for telling the truth and being accurate. And some of us, unfortunately, have paid a price by being imprisoned unjustly overseas. So that's what we're looking at in this panel discussion. And our guests will include Mark Tice, who's the father of Austin Tice. They're Houstonians. Austin was abducted in Syria 11 years ago, and his parents have never stopped looking for him. And then we're also going to have Paul Beckett, who is the Washington bureau chief of the Wall Street Journal, and he'll be talking about Evan Gershkovich, who you may have heard about. He was he's being held in Russia on a charge of espionage. He was there, of course, working as a reporter, and the US government and the Wall Street Journal both deny that he was a spy, and I find it hard to believe that he was. So we're also going to have a representative from the organization bring our families home, and they're going to talk about, generally speaking, what people can do, who the people are who are missing overseas, and what we can do about it. So it's this Saturday, the 16th at 1 o'clock at the Houston Public Library downtown, 500 McKinney. And if you'd like more information, you can go to our website, houstonspj.org. And you can also register. Registration isn't required, but if you're planning to attend, it's really useful for us because there will be refreshments. So hope to see all of you there, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.
And if there are some folks from the Clear Lake area that need a ride, my car can take 2, maybe 3 people going in, and the program is from 1 p.m. till when, Ruth?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Yeah, if we go that long, yes.
Okay. All right. So now comes the best part. Where's Bob? Bob.
Gone. There he is.
Okay, Bob, do your thing.
Again, I've got things going on here. Yes. So I've got a shopping bag. I put the stuff in the shopping bag this time rather than a pot. So I'm getting all the names all fixed up here. All right, here we go. Let's see who this is. Luisa.
Oh, Ana Luisa.
So Luisa, you have one. Is she still on?
Don't see her.
I don't see
I'm here.
Are you?
Good evening,
Okay.
everybody.
Okay, great. Well, Muhammad, tell her what she needs to do. I think she's won before, so you need to tell her what to do so she can.
Okay, so Luisa, this is a $10 gift card from the independent bookstore, Brazos Bookstore, and tomorrow I will call and tell them who the winner is, and you can call or go and buy whatever you want from that wonderful bookstore, and they will honor the $10 gift card for your purchase.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
So this
Now,
is
you got Ana Luisa or Luisa?
Luisa.
Bob, is this Luisa Hodges or
Yeah.
Okay.
Luisa
Okay. This is
Hodges.
Ana Luisa. Okay.
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 Well,
All right. Okay. So Bob, you want to do it again because
I'm going to do it
Luisa
again.
left.
Here we go. Let me mix all this up. All right. I need my glasses here. Can't read my own writing. Oh, Dennis Zelli, Aysenur. He was here a while ago. Is he still here?
He's not there anymore.
All right. We'll just keep going. See,
I have a
get
question
down to you
though.
and me.
I have a question. Luisa isn't here, right?
No, she was here.
Oh, she was. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say maybe Ana Luisa could just take it in her,
Yeah.
place.
Is Wally still here?
The,
Yeah, Wally's here. Oh, Lord.
is the
You okay?
Yeah.
is the
No,
border
it's a
still
cat.
open
The
to
cat,
get,
whatever.
is the Texas border still open so we can get something to Colorado?
1, 2, 3. Oi. Come on, let's go see your mom.
All right. Okay, Bob. So what happened? Who is
I've
the
got two
winner?
cats that don't like each other. They're looking at each other through the window and screaming. So, yeah.
Can I give you an introduction to Ana Luisa? Ana Luisa is from Temple, from that area, and she was the point of the spear
on the Melissa Lucio. The reason that I got involved, I got a phone call from her. And then we came down to the valley. The lady was from Harlingen. So you might want to weigh that in on who you gave the $10 gift certificate.
You know what? You know, we can do that. Ana Luz, are you here in Houston?
Annalisa.
Annalisa.
She has to unmute herself.
Alrighty. And good evening, everybody. I am in Killeen, Texas, which is the neighbor to Fort Cavazos. And I say that con mucho orgullo.
Yes.
Because it was time for a military base to be named after somebody so worthy. The first Latino 4-star general. And so, yes, we have partnered in some good things. Of course, Vanessa Guillen, you know, we partnered with that. And then we also partnered with Melissa Lucio. She was sitting on death row. Day of execution would have been April 27th, but April 25th, they stopped it. And so, yes, I know there is a God, and I know that he hears our prayers. And aquí estamos en pie y no nos vamos.
Wow. Thank
Well
you. So, and Annalisa, I will call the bookstore tomorrow and give them two names, Wally and your name. So I know Killeen is a long drive, but they may be able to ship anything that you buy from their store. Okay.
Yeah, you can buy online through their
Yeah,
website.
it's the name of the bookstore is Brazos Bookstore.
Okay.
All right. And if you are ever here in Houston, just give us a call and we'd love to meet you. All right. Okay. So the next meeting, our monthly meeting, first Monday of the month, will be on October 2nd, same time. And the speakers for the October meeting, there's two speakers who will be speaking about the human rights situation in Iran. And these two ladies are from a group called Progressive Democracy in Iran. So these are two young, wonderful speakers. So put it on your calendar. It's October 2nd, 6:15 p.m. We'll have our monthly meeting with these two wonderful speakers who will be talking about the human rights status in Iran. So tune in. And is there anything else that you need to add, Bob?
Nope, not anything from me. Of course, we have the Batum meeting tomorrow night. If anyone is in here and wants to go, that's when they'll be showing their endorsements for the Houston City Council and mayor.
Okay, all right. Okay, Ysidro, thank you so much for speaking at our
Bob
meeting.
Handy's
And
hand is up.
I'm glad you were able to find Bob Handy.
Bob, write my phone number.
Oh,
I need to talk to you. 832
832
446 8647. Oh man.
Great to see you.
So Ysidro, when you get all that money, you need to give some of that to our chapter, okay?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I have someone that is a major donor to your organization. His name is Skipper Dipple, the author of those books. He's a contributor to Amnesty International.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you in a month.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Thank you. God bless you all.
Bye.